What's up, guys? Mr. Fit to Flourish. I want to give you guys a couple tips on how I choose my option contracts, especially on 0DTE. So today is Friday, July 12th, and it is 0DTE, and I'm going to be looking at different options for Avgo. I'm going to be looking at options for Amazon as well. So the way I choose my contracts, especially on 0DTE, is I choose them 1 to 2 strikes out of the money. And you need to understand that when you're trading 0DTE, that you can lose everything that you put in. So you need to understand everything you put in, you could lose. So you want to be careful with that risk. I choose out of the money contracts. And like I said, 1 to 2 strikes out of the money. So puts or calls, I go long puts or calls. Now, in terms of regular contracts, and I day trade those. Of course, it's 0DTE. But in terms of regular contracts that I'm getting, I day trade for the most part. So I get 2 to 3 strikes, sometimes 4 strikes out of the money, based on the ATR or ADR, the average movement of the stock. So if the stock likes to move $1 to $2, I'm gonna probably be just like 2 to 3 strikes out of the money. I don't need to hit my strike, and you don't need to hit your strike when you're trading options. You just need to make sure you understand the option Greeks. So again, when I'm trading options, I'm paying attention to the options Greeks. Okay, so the main Greeks to pay attention to are delta and theta. So delta is going to tell you how much your contract is going to increase for every dollar gain in the stock. So for every dollar that the stock moves, that delta is going to tell you, hey, this is how much your contract is going to gain. For instance, if you buy a 1.0 contract, a $1 contract, which is $100, and your delta is 0.3 or $30, then you're going to see your contract increase by $30 for every dollar that the stock increases if you get calls. So just keep that in mind. And then another thing you want to pay attention to is theta. You want to make sure that if you're swing trading, you give your stock enough time to make a move, okay? So for instance, if I'm going to be holding a trade for 1 to 2 days maximum, I can just get a weekly expiration. If I'm going to be holding a trade for 3 to 4 days, okay, 3 to 4 days, then I'm going to be wanting to look 2 to 3 to maybe 4 weeks out. If I think it's going to take longer than 4 days, like 4 to 7 days, you want to be looking probably 4 to 5 weeks out in terms of options expiration. And then the last thing that I would recommend with option contracts is to pay attention to your implied volatility. So implied volatility needs to be below 50%. Okay, so that tells you how much your options contract can fluctuate. If your options contract IV, implied volatility, is over 100%, then you're going to get big moves. And overnight, especially if you hold these contracts overnight with over 100% implied volatility, what you're going to get is you're going to get option contracts. So let's say you purchase an option contract for $100 and the implied volatility is 110. Well, $100, even if this is like 2 to 3 weeks out, overnight, it can decrease dramatically. That $100 can go to $30 or $20 overnight, and this usually happens during earnings. And I'm sure a lot of you guys got hit by IV crush in the past, and this is why, because implied volatility makes a large part of these out of the money options. And like I said, I only trade out of the money, so I'm referring to out of the money options when it comes to the implied volatility. And the reason is out of the money options have no real value. All they have is extrinsic value, which is your time value and your volatility. So time and volatility, extrinsic value is the only thing that makes up these out of the money options. Okay, so in the money options have both extrinsic and intrinsic value. So the intrinsic value is the underlying value, which is the value that you can claim in terms of your right to trade in for that stock value. Okay, so anyways, I hope this really helps somebody out there in terms of options and choosing options contracts. Again, I look at the delta to contract ratio. So like if the delta is like 0.3 and the contract is 1.0, my options contract is 1.0, then I know that I will get an implied 30% gain for every dollar move that the underlying or the stock makes. So I hope this helps. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments. Y'all have a good one.